And welcome back, everyone. I am Unstable, joined here by Relcoon for this game. It is going to be Squirtle versus Violet, game number 3 for the first set here to see who advances into the winners match. We are going to be on Cloud Kingdom for this one. Let's jump straight into the action to see how this set plays out. Alrighty, so here we are. We do have StarTails Squirtle down here at the bottom left-hand corner as our red Protoss going for a Nexus first. And up here we have a pull first here for a Violet as our yellow Zerg. We do have a pylon block here, which is pretty much standard, but look at this. We have Squirtle coming over here to the third base. Is he going to pylon block this one as well? Doesn't have the money, but it would be hilarious if he did.
He is actually just going to run away. He doesn't want to lose the probe, but this is exactly what I was talking about in the previous game, is that this map, the rush distance is shorter than Daybreak. You have blocked the natural expansion, forced him to go pool first, and he's going to make some Zerglings. It is going to be something to consider, but it looks like Violet is actually just going to tear down this pylon a little bit faster instead of worrying about going after Squirtle with those Zerglings. So he doesn't quite have to worry about that, but the fact that he saw him go straight after that pylon means that once again he's actually just going to go up to the quick third hatch, which is pretty general response to that Nexus first build. And the first queen is actually walking her way very, very slowly over towards the third base so she can throw an injection over there when she gets there. This time I would hope that Squirtle tries to apply a little bit more pressure to that really quick hatchery at the third, because that is far enough away that it's harder to defend. And like we saw in the last game, if you just leave it alone and let him drone really hard, it gives him a really, really big advantage in the mid game.
Yeah, exactly. But looking here, he's actually going up to check all the way up here to the top left-hand corner. Very interesting to go up there. That must be a read from when they played before or something like that. But we saw in game 2, Squirtle waited a little bit too long to come out with any kind of aggression. Violet was able to get his drone count out so high that he just pretty much steamrolled from that point on. Squirtle lost his chance to take advantage of the, shall we say, greediness of Violet to go with no units and just purely up to that like 70 drone mark.
Yeah, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that he skipped Zergling speed, he went layer first, dropped an evolution chamber, and was going straight up to 70 drones at the same time. If there had been any sort of gateway pressure, he would quite literally have had nothing to defend it with. So it would have been quite easy for him to, at the very least, kill some drones or possibly even take out that third base hatchery. But this time, again, Squirtle is going for a really quick robotics facility, staying on the one gateway to begin with. So we'll see if he does manage to pull something together to pressure this. Zealot did come out in the center map, get pressured by these Zerglings, but he was able to sneak around behind the watchtower where Violet didn't quite feel like fighting it back there.
Alrighty, so with all three bases now having queens, this is going to be the point where in game 2 Violet just went straight up to that 90 drone mark. Let's see if he does it again. I'm not sure if that's a wise idea considering Squirtle would not make the same mistake twice. He's already got an Immortal coming out of his robotics facility. Has it been scouted here by Violet?
There was an Overlord in the area, but no, he hasn't seen it. He actually stuck around to the high ground on this cliff instead. That is a curious, really fast Immortal. He did this last game, but it was actually slower than this. And if he was going to go for the fast Immortal for pressure, I expect to see extra gateways warping in right now, but he hasn't actually started any. Oh, there we go. 3 more extra gateways, right as we say that.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to get 2 or 3 Immortals out, warp in a bunch of units, then go for a strong push. And if he times this out right, he could catch Violet while he's still droning really hard. That is if Violet plays super greedy again. I mean, he did go for the layer first, drop the evolution chamber, Roach Horn, and then delays Zergling speed again. So it's definitely possible that he could catch him off guard here.
Well, here comes the Overlord to come in and see these gateways. He will be able to see what's going on. He won't see the Immortals or the robotics facility though. So he might be caught off guard a little bit to that. We do see the creep spread being pushed out quite nicely at this third base, as that's where Violet's expecting Squirtle to come out straight away. And here we go. So look at this. Squirtle actually moved his Immortals out of the way.
The robotics, it's going to come really close. He sees the... Oh my god, he saw the chrono boost. But he didn't actually see the robotics facility. I was watching his vision the entire time. So he knows there's a production building of some sort there. He's probably just gonna have to take a guess. Might be able to figure out that that's a robotics facility, but that is a lot of sentries with this as well. The issue is he doesn't have really any zealots or stalkers with it. He needs some more core units to be with this group if he wants it to be at full effectiveness. But he is flying a warp prism over. He's gonna finish it here in a second when he's gonna chrono boost it out. Probably use that to warp in some zealots, I would assume.
Yeah, but he is going to be seeing this creep now by Violet, and that's going to really put a dent in his plans because he can't really stop and put a pylon down. He will be forced to rely on this warp prism that's coming out, but he really wants to keep that there to actually lift up the Immortals. At the same time, look at this. We have Violet moving down for a counterattack. There are 3 cannons here, though, and it should be enough to keep it.
Really good is forcing Squirtle to have to withdraw. So this little bit of a counterattack is working out quite well for Violet, even if it gets completely thwarted. If all these units die, it bought him a lot of time, and then he'll be able to produce a lot more units out of these 3 hatches with the queens. He has pretty good drone count, so this is just really good usage of his units to buy time. Like I'm fond of saying, time is the 4th resource in StarCraft 2, and these little strategies that are designed just to get yourself a little bit more of it are quite powerful. Even managed to get the roaches out alive, so bonus points there. Really well played by Violet. Now he's perfectly fine. He does not have to worry about this army anymore because he has so many units that as long as he picks a good position to engage in, he can deal with this no problem.
Yeah, exactly. He's also got a spine crawler wall at his natural that he made just in case we saw Squirtle ignore the counterattack and go straight for it. We also see Squirtle getting a 3rd base as well. There are 2 pylons up here at the top left-hand corner, just in case Squirtle wants to go for an attack yet again. But I think he's going to sit back, play on this 3-base economy for a little bit. Does pick off those 2 roaches coming into scout. And he does have Blink being researched now. Keep in mind, though, Violet is still only on 52 drones. He hasn't been able to get to that 70, 80 mark. At the moment, he's still got a little bit of way to go.
Yeah, he was up at a higher drone count, but he actually threw down a lot of spine crawlers at his natural, if you go down and look at that. So he keeps spiking up to mid-60s and then dropping back down to around 60, 55 or so. He was a little bit concerned about that attack for a while, but this Warp Prism flew right by both queens, is now at 24 health and is having to retreat to the corner, might still die. Yeah, there it goes.
That was not expected coming out there from Squirtle. I expected some kind of different use of that. But we do see a 4th base finishing up now for Violet. And things looking pretty standard to the late game macro play here.
Yeah, normally this 4th base can be kind of difficult to hold in the mid game, but Violet has a pretty good position on the map here with a good amount of creep. He should actually be able to hold this without too many issues. His army is roaming around trying to make sure that no little attack forces can sneak out, forcing Squirtle to have to keep his entire army together. That's a lot of force fields to kill just a couple roaches as well. He does have a lot of sentries. He has 9 sentries on the field, but that was like 5 force fields. Definitely was a perfectly fine trade for Violet, especially considering the fact that he's going to be on 4 bases in a second. He's not concerned about losing those roaches. Now 8 infestors on the way as well. Violet's in a strong position, and Squirtle's just going to have to get some better tech out to deal with this. He has Colossus on the way. The question is, how many Colossus can he get out before Violet decides to start knocking on his door?
Yeah, exactly. And we do see more spine crawlers at this 4th base that's just been spotted by Squirtle. And he is going into Stargate play as well as this Colossus extended thermal lance. So he's playing, he's just waiting, he's biding his time. He's going to probably take a 4th in a minute just to play into the super late game here. That's all I'm reading from Squirtle this entire game.
Yeah, he has a 4th Nexus shadow over here in the bottom right already. His army's actually trying to block the probe there a little bit, so he's trying to move it around to let the probe get there. But he is going to have to now sit in this general area to try and defend it, because he has no defenses for this. There are roaches in the area. Nice force field donut, trapping all of his roaches in here, as they're all going to get completely obliterated. But if you look at it, Violet's kind of low on the resources because he's teching quite hard. He's not going to be able to reproduce those immediately. That's going to give Squirtle a slight opportunity to try and move across the map and maybe apply some pressure if he wants. His range is done on the Colossus as well. So this would be a good opportunity to apply some pressure, but the problem is there's just spine crawlers everywhere. So I don't think he'd really be able to do too much except for chew through a couple of spine crawlers. Could always poke forward and maybe lessen the creep a little bit, then withdraw. That would also be a good target. But he's playing it safe, just going to hang back, hold his watchtower, and like you said, just play right into the late game.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, so we do see Squirtle. It looks like he wants to move out here, but with the two Colossi, there's a lot of spine crawls, and the amount of investors there really will give Squirtle pause. Hive is finished now, and is that the first or second spire? I'm gonna guess the first. So,
yeah, that's the first one. There's also a Mothership on the way and Warp Prism Speed. So with the combination of those two units, it looks like Squirtle might be actually trying to go for that Mothership for some mass recall. Play with the Warp Prism for some back attacks, move the army out, and then recall it away. Go for the positional shenanigans, being many places on the map at the same time. Nice bungle on those Colossus. Roach is going to come forward, try and kill them. He will actually take down both the Colossus, and in return for, what, 2 bungles and a couple Roaches, but his hatchery will fall down. So I think Squirtle is fine with that trade, especially since he has the Mothership on the way, has a lot of other tech coming online, and he's not really behind in supply at all at the moment.
No, he also has that 4th base up and running now. He's got +3 finishing up for his army. And he's going to have 1-3 upgrades compared to the soon-to-be 2-2 for Violet. But this is only for his ground armies, for his Zerglings and Broodlings, not for his Roaches. Either way, it's still looking out to be a very close game.
Yeah, Violet's drone count is much lower this game. He never got up to that 90 count. He kept every additional drone he's made past about the 65 mark has been thrown directly into spine crawlers. So he's staying at that lower drone count. He didn't really get to snowball his economy as hard as he did last game. So he's focusing on making his army bigger this time, which is understandable. But one thing I'm curious about is if you are going to do that, I would assume he would want that neural parasite like he was going for last game. Especially since we're moving into the late game to maybe try and deal with a Mothership, but he has skipped it this time, so he has no direct way of dealing with a Mothership except for any leftover Corruptors and good positioning. That means that a good Vortex could actually really wreck Violet right now. This is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, he doesn't have Neural Parasite to try and grab that Mothership either, so it's going to be very difficult. Storm is finishing up for Squirtle as well. He's also getting +1 ship weapons. So it's going to be a very interesting engagement, to say the least. We do see a lot of Broodlords on the way, 8 in total, 7 more Corruptors are coming out onto the field as well.
You don't think about the DPS on the Mothership very often, but it does have 6 shots. So +1 attacks on the Mothership actually winds up giving it a pretty good damage boost, because that's, well, +6 damage. The issue is that if you're hitting anything with armor, well, it's going to get mitigated. But there are a lot more Corruptors on the way. So he is going to have some Corruptors out to maybe try and snipe that Mothership before it can get in position, maybe try and force him to use that Vortex early. So this is going to come down to positioning. There are 5 Stargates on the way, Unstable. Oh my god, there's a fleet beacon of 5 Stargates. 6 Stargates. Is he actually going to switch into carriers?
It's quite likely, and he also took down a base at the top left-hand corner here with a Zealot warp in, but there's still a lot of spine crawlers. Squirtle does not have the bulk of his... Actually, is that the bulk of his army? Pretty much is at the moment, yeah.
That would explain the ship upgrades as well, because fully upgraded weapon carriers actually do insane amounts of DPS. But again, they're really slow, so positioning becomes extremely important.
Well, he's got the extra upgrades coming out, so we are going to see that carrier transition. However, he's got his Mothership defending the 4th base. Nothing that Violet can really do about it at this point in time, because he can recall the rest of his army there if he gets in a lot of trouble. And there's a lot of Storms there as well, but there's so many cannons down here, and Storms for Squirtle. He's just completely defending every single one of these bases. But here we go. It looks like Violet is moving forward now. The couple of Stalkers do get fungled from behind, and looks like he is just going to give up this base.
He's pulling back, trying to let these Broodlings time out, but he is in range to start dropping more of them on the Assimilator, so it actually does look like he's just going to give up the base. I'm loving the fact that Squirtle's going for the mass cannon with Templars just to stall out. Something you used to see a lot in Brood War, just to buy some time. Some Zergling run by going on into the main base, getting past the cannons, but there are some Zealots hanging out. But he will scout the fact that there are carriers on the way with those Zerglings. That's actually kind of important. And that means that Violet's actually withdrawing. think he's actually a little bit nervous about the carriers because he doesn't have too many corruptors out. He doesn't have Neural Parasite going. He is converting more Broodlords, getting more corruptors out, so he's switching more into that mass air army, but still would expect to see Neural Parasite right now, especially since he scouted the mothership and the carriers. Really needs to make sure he has something against that Vortex, but right now he's got to hope that he can either force it early or Squirtle misses.
Yeah, well, he did. Squirtle did do a Zealot drop up here at the 4th base, take that out. So Violet is back to 3 bases only. He's also mined out in his main, so that's going to be huge for him. He's got to be careful not going to get caught down here with this main army. Half of his army just got bungled there, though, and Storm does go down on a lot of those Corruptors, and it looks like he is going to be surrounded here at the moment. More Zerglings coming in, and he is going to cloak that Nexus so they can't get taken out. However, the full army for Violet is moving forward. It looks like Squirtle's going to have to give up this base. However,
the mothership caught completely out of position, forces the Vortex early. Exactly what I was talking about. Nice job with those Corruptors. Now he's down 1 Vortex. If he can do that again, then his army will be in a really solid position without Squirtle having that Vortex support. But now the carriers are coming in. What can he do with the carrier Vortex army? The mothership is going down, forces yet another Vortex, but he caught a lot of Broodlords that time. So he might be able to come out of this all right. The carrier is doing a lot of damage to the remaining Broodlords, and they actually fly directly into the Vortex. That means this Storm is going to hurt so hard.
Yeah, there goes the Storm. He did lose a lot of those Infestors to feedbacks, though. And Storm's coming down yet again. There is not much health left on anything here. I think there's no Corruptors left. No, there isn't.
All the Corruptors, and now all these Broodlords are going to go down. That was a really clutch Vortex. It looked really bad for Squirtle there, but he caught the major portion of those Broodlords with that Vortex. Is really what saved him.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's picking them off one by one, and Squirtle is going to take that supply lead. And Violet really just hasn't been able to get a 4th base back up and running yet. He's got his face there. But, he's a little bit too forward.
Flew a little bit too far out. Now all those carriers are going to go down, I think.
Well, the Archons are just going to crush through that.
Oh wow, those clustering Archons really ripped through those Corruptors. That was clutch timing on those Archons, and a few more carriers coming in to reinforces. The issue is he is losing some of these Interceptors, which means that rebuilding them has completely run him out of minerals. This is one of the problems with carriers. He cannot really afford to make anything else, so these carriers have to do everything right now. Nice positioning on these Corruptors, avoiding the Archons to power down more carriers, but he's still just going to be forced to throw in the towel. Doesn't have any more units left to deal with those carriers.
Yeah, so GG comes out from Violet. Squirtle will take this series, and he will move on into the winners match. It really came down to Violet not being able to secure that 4th base with the Zealot drop that came in and took that out. So congratulations to him. We'll be right back with our second set for this group in a second.